Ms. Kelly, if you can look over your right shoulder. You've previously seen this video, is that right?
Yes.
And is this the lobby of the Instalone?
Yes.
Do you see the door that you entered to come into the business?
It's only one door right there.
Okay. All right. Ms. Kelly, is that you walking in?
Yes.
And this is May 17th, 2014, at about 3:46 in the afternoon.
Yes.
So between whenever Mr. Ritchie woke up, he was with you at your residence until sometime before 3:45 when you drove there.
That's correct.
And you said you're coming in now to finalize this loan.
Correct.
All right. And were you utilizing the money for some type of a business transaction? Were you going to buy something?
No. It's personal.
Were you going to give it to somebody?
It's personal.
Kelly, I'm going to move forward into the video. You can take a look at it. The gentleman that's walking back in the door or walking in the door, is that the manager
Yes.
that was assisting you with completing your loan?
He wasn't assisting me, but I think he has to do the pictures and make the final decision on what you're going to get.
Oh, okay. He makes the final assessment of the
Right.
value of the car?
Correct.
And he would have been the one that took the photographs?
Correct.
And do you remember Mr. Ritchie walking in shortly here?
Yeah, that's him.
Is that Mr. Ritchie?
Correct.
That's how he was dressed that day?
Yes.
Do you remember what the lady was doing right there, the young lady?
The outfit was new, so she was taking off the tag. I forgot to
okay.
take the tag
Okay.
off.
And at that time when she was doing that, was Mr. Ritchie was at the time, the first time he was telling you, asking you how long it was going to take?
It looks like that may be what's going on.
And does he appear to have his phone in his hand?
Yes.
And looking at his phone? So now he comes back a second time, is that right? Is that Mr. Ritchie coming back in, Ms. Kelly? Excuse me.
Yes.
it appeared he's asking you to come outside. Is that what happened?
Yes, because I don't think I was really able to talk, so.
And do you go out on the sidewalk and have a discussion with him?
Correct.
And is that when he's telling you he has to leave?
Yes.
And he'll be back?
Correct.
And does he tell you he'll be back in a few minutes, or he'll be back soon, or?
He didn't say. He wasn't specific.
And you're asking him, what do you got to do in St. Pete, because you don't know St. Pete?
Right.
Because you're thinking at that time he's going to go somewhere nearby.
That's what I was thinking.
And did he tell you he was going to Tampa?
No, he didn't tell me anything. He just said he will be back.
And is this you walking back in, Ms. Kelly?
Yes.
And during this, are you trying to concentrate on getting your loan?
I am concentrating on getting my loan
For your personal reasons?
for my personal reasons. Correct.
That doesn't have anything to do with the defendant, does it? Your personal reasons?
It's my personal reasons.
Were you going to give him money or loan him money?
You're asking me the same thing. I'm telling you for my personal reasons.
So, just for the record, you're refusing to tell us, to tell this jury, why you were getting that money?
I don't think it's irrelevant to this. It doesn't have anything to do with this case. That was my business.
Ms. Kelly, do you remember seeing a separate camera angle of that lobby?
I think this is it right here that you showed me, yes.
Right. So I'm going to try to go forward the time period when you go outside with Mr. Ritchie. This is the second time he's coming in.
Okay.
Ms. Kelly, if you could watch the video, please. And that's you walking out?
Yes.
All right. And that's a sidewalk there, it runs along in front of the business?
Correct.
So, and because I can't draw on the video, you're having a discussion with him right now?
Correct.
All right, so he's standing somewhere over here on the
He's
sidewalk.
right in front of me, but
All right.
the wall is blocking him.
And your car is parked right here?
My car is on the side,
On that
actually
side.
behind that picture frame, maybe that way.
Okay. And it's facing into the business? on that
Correct.
side. Okay. And that's you walking back in by yourself?
Correct.
Now that's you kind of running out the door?
Yes.
Have you finished your business there at the Insta-Loan?
Yes.
Did you get your loan?
Yes.
Okay. Now we see you getting into a car here. Whose car is that?
That's my cousins.
Your cousins?
Yes,
And had you contacted them by phone?
correct,
And did your cousin agree to come pick you up?
correct.
And at that time, your mother was over at the Seminole Indian Casino here in Tampa?
Correct.
So when you left with your cousin, did your cousin take you somewhere, or did you just drive with her?
I just hung out with her,
Okay. How long did you stay with your cousin?
maybe a couple hours.
And if she had taken you to your house, would you have been able to get into your house?
No.
And is that because the defendant left with your house key
Yeah, it was on the car key.
on the keychain?
Yes.
At some point, does your cousin drop you off at your mother's house?
Yes.
You remember about how long you were with your cousin before you got dropped off at your mom's house?
Like a couple hours again, a little longer.
A couple hours, maybe longer?
Yeah.
At some point, your mother told you she was home or heading home?
Yes.
And then did you go there and get dropped off there?
Yes, I did.
Did you continue, other than the text messages that we've seen, did you continue to attempt to call and text Mr. Ritchie?
I'm not sure. I don't remember.
At some point, you get a phone call from a detective at the Temple Terrace Police Department.
Correct.
Prior to that, did you know that the defendant was at the Temple Terrace Police Department prior to
No.
them calling you?
No.
Did you have any idea up to that point that the defendant had gone to the Temple Terrace Police Department?
No.
Other than telling you, I'm in trouble, relax, did he say anything to you about being at a police station or being with detectives?
No.
When you got the call from the detective at the Temple Terrace Police Department, were you caught off guard?
Of course.
Were you kind of
Yes.
shocked by that?
Yes.
And when they asked you to come there to the Temple, because they did, right?
Correct.
Did you ask him what it was about?
Yes.
That's a natural reaction, right?
Yes.
But they wouldn't tell you, right?
He kind of told me it was pertaining to the night. He asked me, as a matter of fact, did I see it on the news? And I replied to him, yes. And then he said, it's something pertaining to something like that, the case. The little girl being missing, actually.
Okay. So he asked you if you'd seen that on the news?
Correct.
About the little girl being missing?
Correct.
And you said you had?
Yes.
Had you seen it that morning at your residence?
I've seen it a couple times. I think I maybe seen it that night too as well. I'm not really sure, but it flashed a couple times on
Okay.
TV.
Was that on Bay News 9?
I probably Bay News 9, yes.
Okay. So that's kind of like a revolving 24-hour news cycle
Yes.
show, correct?
Correct.
So did you tell the detective you would come over to the Temple Terrace Police
I
Department?
did.
And did you go over to the Temple Terrace Police Department?
Yes. I
How did you get over there?
My mother's car.
Okay. What kind of car did your mother have?
I believe she had a Maxima then, I want to say.
Okay. So did you take a Maxima?
Yes.
And did you know how to get to the Temple Terrace Police Department?
No.
How did you find your way there?
GPS.
I'm sorry?
GPS.
You used your phone?
Correct.
You used the electronic technology of GPS within your phone to find your way to the Temple Terrace Police Department?
Yes, sir. I used the technology GPS off of my phone to reach the Temple Terrace Department.
Did it lead you there and work?
It did.
Did you go somewhere before you went to the Temple Terrace Police Department?
I didn't go specifically anywhere. I just rode past a place.
Okay, what place did you drive past?
I got off on Hillsborough,
Okay.
and I rode past AutoZone, I believe it was, on the corner,
Uh-huh.
to see if my vehicle was there.
And was your GPS taking you, did you go up 275?
No, my GPS didn't take me there. I knew how to get to Hillsborough on my own.
Okay. But you weren't familiar with the location of the Temple Terrace Police Department?
That's correct.
You've never been there before?
Never.
Were you familiar with Tampa?
Not really.
When you came across, did you come across the Howard Franklin Bridge?
Yes.
You did?
I have, yes.
No, I mean when you went to the Temple Terrace Police Department.
Yes, I used the Howard Franklin.
And you came on 275 northbound and then got off on Hillsborough?
I did.
But that wasn't where the GPS coordinates were telling you to go, or the GPS on your phone was telling you?
No, I didn't utilize it for a minute because I wanted to ride past AutoZone to check on my vehicle, which was located on Hillsborough.
Okay, so you knew your vehicle was at the AutoZone on Hillsborough?
Correct.
All right. And is that because the defendant told you that?
He did.
Was that by text or phone call?
One or the other, I'm not sure if it was the phone call or a text.
And
I
is that
believe it was
because
a phone
you said to
call.
him, "Where's my car?"
I don't know if I asked or he told me where it was located. I don't know how the conversation occurred, but I was told.
Okay, so before you went to the Temple Terrace Police Department, you went to check on your car.
Correct.
Okay, so you got off the 275 onto Hillsborough and you drove, would that be eastbound?
When I got off Hillsborough, I went right.
You went right.
Correct.
So you're coming north on Hillsborough, you got off on the turn lanes and you took a right.
Correct.
Okay. And you drove down, did you see your car?
After that first light, the AutoZone is right after that light, which is on the right-hand side as well. So I did see my vehicle.
It's pretty close to 275.
Correct. It's right when you get off.
Did you know the cross street to be Nebraska?
Nebraska and Hillsborough, right.
Okay. And you saw your car in the parking lot?
I did.
And did you see other cars around your car?
I did.
What kind of cars?
Police.
Did you pull in and stop and talk to them?
I didn't. I actually pulled in across the street when I U-turned.
Did a U-turn?
Yes.
And then where'd you go?
When I did a U-turn, I sat in the parking lot for a minute to actually try to see what was going on with my vehicle, because at this time I'm very confused and I don't really know what's going on. So I'm trying to figure out why all these people are around my vehicle and if I can even take my vehicle because there was so many people around the vehicle.
That upset you?
No, I wasn't upset. It just made me curious to what was going on.
And before you were told about your car being there, and before these officers or this detective called you, you had no idea that the defendant was going to the Temple Terrace Police Department when he left you, right?
I didn't.
So, after leaving there, I'm assuming at some point you left.
Leaving where?
The parking lot where you had...
Oh, the store across the street? Yes.
How long did you sit there for?
Probably like 15 minutes.
What were you doing?
Analyzing the area to what was going on with my vehicle. Trying to figure out what was going on.
Okay. You knew your car was across the street with a bunch of officers or deputies?
Correct.
And you knew this had something to do with the missing girl?
Correct.
After sitting there for that length of time, 15, 20 minutes, is that what you said?
15.
15?
Yes.
What did you do next?
I proceeded to get back on the interstate and head to the Temple Terrace detective.
Okay. And following your GPS on your phone?
Correct.
Did it take you to the Temple Terrace Police Department?
It did.
When you arrived there, did you walk into the front entrance, or where did you go?
I walked into the front entrance.
Did you tell them why you were there?
Yes, I told them who I was there to meet with.
And did a detective come out and meet you?
Correct.
Were you escorted
Yes.
to some area?
Yes.
And what kind of area?
I think that's their interviewing area, maybe.
Okay. Was it a room with a table and some chairs?
Yes.
And did you agree to be interviewed?
I wasn't being interviewed per se. I think he was just asking me some questions, verifying some things that he was told.
So you didn't have any problem sitting there talking to them?
No, I didn't.
Did you ask them, what in the world is this all about?
Yes. He finally actually told me what it was about eventually.
All right. Did the detective question you about the day before and about that day?
The day before. It's possible.
Now, how long do you think you were there having this conversation with this detective?
A couple hours or more.
And at the end of the conversation with the detective, what happened?
He asked if it was okay if he seized my vehicle. And if I didn't agree with it, he said that he was gonna, I guess, get it subpoenaed for me to do that, and I will get the vehicle back in 2 days.
Did he mention a search warrant?
No, not at that moment.
Did you agree to let them take your vehicle?
Yes, for 2 days.
Have you ever seen your vehicle since?
No.
All right. Well, you actually leave there and you go to look at it. We're going to talk about that.
Yeah.
But after that night, did you ever see your Lexus again?
Yes.
You
I did. Yes.
Later that night, or?
Later that night. Actually, I went back to the area again.
Okay.
And I sat there.
Well, hold on for a minute, because I'm going to ask you about that.
Okay.
So, he asked you for consent to search your car, take your car, and you agreed?
Correct.
All right. After that happens, what happens next? What do you do next?
I leave, and then I go back to Hillsboro.
Back to Hillsboro Avenue?
Nebraska and Hillsboro, where the car was located.
Okay.
So I go back there, and the vehicle is still there the same way. So I sit for a while, because I'm actually trying to reach Granville, too, at the time. So I'm trying to see what they're going to do with my vehicle, too, as well. So I sit for a while, and then I think I had to use the restroom, and I proceeded to go to a gyros.
On Hillsboro?
On Hillsboro and 40th, maybe. I'm not really sure. 50th, 40, I don't know.
How
But
far past Nebraska and Hillsboro was that?
it was up a little way.
So you drive back to Nebraska and Hillsboro, and do you drive into the parking lot where your car is, or do you?
No, I never drive in the parking lot. I just sat across the street.
Was that the same place that you had sat before?
Yes.
Before you had gone to the Temple
Yes.
Terrace Police Department?
Correct.
And how long did you sit there?
I sat there for a while.
Do you think it was as long as an hour?
After the interview, yes, I still was over there within that hour, yes.
At some point, did you see detectives start kind of moving around your car?
There was already some outside. It was some in the vehicle. It was just like different police, but they all was over there in the parking lot. So as I said, I end up having to use the restroom. So I left, and I drove down to the gyros, yes. And I went in and used the restroom. And then when I was coming out, I got in my mom's vehicle, and I proceeded to leave out the parking lot, and that's when I seen my vehicle on a tow truck passing by the gyros. Driving by.
And did you follow the car?
No, I didn't.
What did you do at that point?
I just was still trying to reach Granville, because I knew he left before I did. So.
Left the Temple Terrace Police
Yes.
Department. So when you were trying to get a hold of him, he wasn't returning your calls or not answering your calls?
Correct.
Did you try to call his mother to try to find him?
Yes.
Were you able to get a hold of him at that time?
Not at that time, no.
And I'll ask now, after you saw your car go by on a tow truck, did you ever get it back?
No.
At some point, did you leave the gyro shop?
Yes.
And where did you go?
I think I went back to the same area.
Nebraska, Hillsborough?
Yes, I think I just drove the back way and came back up Nebraska on the side, the different side.
Okay. And what did you do when you got there?
I just observed the area again, and at that time it was like a gathering of police or investigators. I don't really know what was what, but
Your car was gone, though?
yes, my car was gone.
How long did you stay in that area?
I say I stayed over there maybe an hour and a half or a little longer.
Now, why would you stay there for an hour and a half?
Well, it was two reasons. One, I was trying to get in touch with Granville, and the second reason was because I was trying to see what was going on with my vehicle.
Did you have some reason to believe they were going to do anything other than search your vehicle?
No, I just thought they was going to just simply search the vehicle, and I was really under the impression that I was going to get it back in 2 days.
After staying there for an hour, hour and a half in that area, did you at some point leave that area?
Yes.
Where did you go?
I got back on Hillsborough, proceeding to go home.
Proceeding home?
Yes.
All right. And how did you go home? What route did you take?
I got back on Hillsborough on the opposite side that I got off to enter into Hillsborough. So I got back on heading south.
Heading south?
St. Pete, to St.
On
Pete.
275?
Yes.
Okay. So did that take you back down through by the city of Tampa and back out?
It's actually taking me out of Tampa. Yeah. To go back to the Howard Franklin.
To go back to St. Pete?
Yes.
Did you go back across the Howard Franklin?
I did.
And then down through St. Pete on I-275?
Yes.
Did you get off at that 38th Street exit?
I did. 38th Avenue.
38th Avenue?
Yes.
I'm sorry, 38th Avenue. Did you then head towards your residence?
I did.
As you got close to your condominium, did you see somebody walking that you recognized?
Yes.
And where was that you saw that person?
Right at the light that you take to turn to go to my condo.
And that's after you get off of 38th Avenue?
That's way down after you get off 38th Avenue.
How close was that to your house?
The light is actually less than 5 minutes away from my house, probably.
And who was that person that you recognized that you saw walking?
Granville?
Granville Ritchie?
Yes.
And what did you do when you saw him walking?
I stopped.
Now, up to that point, had you been able to get him on the phone, or had he
No.
answered any of your phone calls?
No.
So you stopped,
Yes.
and what happened next?
He got in the vehicle.
Did you go home from there?
Yes, I was practically home. Yes.
And when you got to your residence, did you stay at your house? At
For
your
a while, yes.
condominium?
Yes.
How long did you stay there?
I would say some hours. Some hours.
You stayed at home for hours?
Yeah.
Did you end up leaving home at some point?
Yes.
What time was that?
I'm not really sure, but it had to be like 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock in the morning. I'm not really sure, but it was early morning.
So that would be early morning, Sunday morning?
Correct.
And you remember May the 17th when you went to the Installone being a Saturday?
It was a Saturday, yes, that I went there.
When you got into the car on Saturday morning to go to the Installone,
Yes.
was that the first time you had got into the car that day?
Yes.
When you got into the car, did you see any clothing inside of the car that would have belonged to a child?
No.
Did you see a pair of children's jeans?
No.
Did you see a child's black shirt with green stripes on it?
No.
Did you see a pair of shoes or a shoe that was a black canvas shoe that looked like it may fit a 9 or 10-year-old kid?
I didn't.
And did you see any suitcases that were empty?
No.
That morning, we're going to Sunday morning now. You've picked up the defendant, you've gone to your residence, you're there for a couple of hours. You
Yes.
told us that you leave your residence
Correct.
after that. When's the next time you return to your residence?
I returned to my residence when you guys got a search warrant for my residence.
Do you remember when that was?
It was the same, I want to say it was a Thursday. It was that evening after I left here doing the sworn statement. Later on, you guys got a search warrant, and that's...
Would you agree with me that your sworn statement was taken on May 23rd?
If that was a Thursday, I remember it being a Thursday. I'm not sure though.
Okay. If I showed you a transcript of your sworn statement, would that possibly refresh your memory as to the date?
Yes.
And you can see up here in Ray SAO, State Attorney's Office investigation, the statement of Calissa Kelly.
Yes.
Right? Do you see a date?
May 23rd.
Okay. And that would have been the next time that you went to your residence after Sunday morning?
I believe so.
Do you see the defendant here in the courtroom?
Yes.
Can you please point to him and describe an article of clothing that he has on?
He has on a black suit.
Can you describe his tie for me to distinguish him from the other two men at the table?
Yes, he has on like a burgundy tie.
Your Honor, may the record reflect that the witnesses identified the defendant Granville Ritchie.
The record shows so reflects.
Thank you. Kelly, I'm going to show you states. Oh, by the way, your last name is Kelly, right?
Correct.
What name does the defendant call you by?
Kelly.
Kelly. So he calls you by your last name.
Correct.
I'm going to show you what's been marked as 0. It's an Oscar-12. You've seen this photo before, have you not?
Yes, probably.
This has previously been identified as the passenger side of the Lexus GS400. When the defendant left your residence on May 16th, was the passenger side of your car all scratched up like that?
Which one are the scratches? The long ones? The long scratches on there?
All of the scratches.
It was a lot of scratches on there.
Was there this many scratches?
I never counted them, but it was a lot of scratches
Was
on
this
there.
scratch on there?
Yes.
Was this scratch on there?
Yes.
Was this scratch on there?
I think all those scratches were on there.
States O-13. Can you see those scratches?
Yes.
this scratch, that scratch, and this scratch, and this scratch. Were those scratches on there?
My car was scratched up pretty bad.
Miss Kelly, the detectives asked you about those scratches too, didn't they?
Mm-hmm.
And you indicated to them that you had previously lived at a residence at 4820 Fifth Avenue South.
Correct.
And that you told them two things. You told them that your car had been keyed by somebody, right?
Correct.
On the side of the car.
On both sides of the car and
Both
on
sides.
the top of the hood,
Okay.
yes.
And then you said that you may have been getting scratches on your car when you lived at that prior residence on Fifth Avenue in an alley behind the residence.
I
correct?
gave them two reasons why the scratches was on the vehicle.
Okay.
One, because I used to always go in this alley and it was the trees used to scratch up the top and the sides of it when you're turning in, driving through. And then the other reason was because someone purposely scratched up the vehicle.
And the alley was at 4820 Fifth Avenue South, St. Pete, correct?
Correct.
All right. States KK4. Is that the alley?
Yeah, that's the alley.
Okay. And states KK3. Is that the alley?
Yes, that's the alley.
States KK2. Is that the alley?
Yes, that's the alley.
Now, Ms. Kelly, when you came to my office about 4 weeks ago to prepare for trial, before coming and meeting with me, you had a date to come meet with me and you didn't show up, right?
Something like that.
You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
You know, subpoena had been served on you and you didn't appear?
Subpoena was served on me, or you told me? No, I think you just asked me to come down, not a
Which
subpoena.
You had been served for trial, correct?
I don't know if I was served at that time. I'm not sure.
But you didn't come down when you were requested to
The
come down.
Friday, no, I missed that first Friday you requested me.
And then an investigator came out and actually served you a subpoena to come down to my office, right?
Actually, he took it to the wrong place, but he left a message on my phone and I returned the call.
Right.
Yes.
And you accepted the subpoena eventually.
Actually, they were banging on my mom's windows and she accepted the subpoena.
Kimberly Moore, your mom.
Correct.
Right. So she did what's called substitute service and accepted the subpoena.
Yeah, two of your people showed up, banging on her window, and she went to see what was wrong, and it was them trying to serve me the subpoena.
Right. After you didn't show up the first time.
No, actually, it was after they thought I wasn't going to show up at all, because he left on my message that he knew Granville was telling me that I didn't have to come.
Okay. Well, in fact, before you came to talk to me, you went and visited with the defendant, correct? You had a visitation with him at the Hillsborough County Jail. correct?
Possibly, yeah, on a Sunday.
Right. And
Uh-huh.
during that visitation, Mr. Ritchie told you, all you have to do is appear for trial. You didn't have to come talk to me, right?
I don't know if he said it in those words, but it was something pertaining to that.
Right. He told you you don't have to talk to the prosecutor, correct?
I don't think it wasn't the said as talk to the prosecutor. He wasn't thinking it was the prosecutor.
And Ms. Kelly, you are still in a relationship with this defendant, aren't you?
I am still his friend, yeah.
You know that what he's charged with, correct?
Correct.
Capital murder of a little girl and raping her. And for the last 5 years, you've remained his girlfriend, right? Isn't that correct?
Yes.
And in fact, you have visited him at the Hillsborough County Jail over 366 times.
Have I?
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, I
Isn't that
didn't know
true?
that. I don't know the numbers, but I've been there a lot.
And you have talked to him on the phone over 2,000 times over the last 5 years. Isn't that right?
Wow, I wasn't. Didn't
Isn't that
know.
correct?
I can't say that's correct. All I can say is I do speak to him on the phone. I don't know the many of times that I've spoken to him on the phone, but you are correct. We do still speak on the phone.
You have one moment, Your Honor.
Yes.
And I think when you came to meet with me, and I was remiss not asking this earlier, you had told me that you had provided money to the defendant, correct, while he's been in jail?
For canteen?
For canteen, right?
Yes,
Yeah, so he can buy food, snacks, things like that, correct?
correct.
For the last 5 years.
Yeah, yes.
Okay, how much total do you think that is? That
You don't know?
You tell me.
I can't tell you. I didn't tell you the numbers of visit and the
Is
number
it
of
over
phone calls.
$1,000?
It is it? I don't know, sir.
Is
I
it
didn't
over-
keep it
Is
up.
it over $5,000?
I don't know. I just know I did it from my heart. I don't know how much it was. I just did it from my heart. I wasn't counting.
Right, okay. So you get dragged into an investigation that you don't know anything about after the defendant takes your car and leaves you stranded. You're questioned by detectives. They seize your Lexus that you haven't gotten back to this day, and you still are in love with this defendant to the point where you go see him at the jail all the time and you call him, or you talk to him all the time when he calls you. Right? Is that right, ma'am?
No, you're wrong. You're wrong about some of the things you just said. You're wrong about me being in love with him. So no, that's not the reason. It's the reason is because I want to know as well some things, and the reason is we are friends. So that's what friends do.
In fact, when you came to talk to me at the state attorney's office 4 weeks ago,
Mhm.
who were you with when you walked up to the third floor to my office? Who was with you? Who traveled with you that day?
Gloria?
Gloria Gibson,
Correct.
this defendant's mother.
Correct.
Ma'am, you are in a relationship with him, you love him, to the point where you travel places with his mother, correct?
Not often. What does that have to do with anything?
The fact that you're in love with him?
No, the fact that you keep saying that I am. Did
It
I
has-
ever
it has
tell you
every-
that?
It has everything to do with
Did-
your, with
did
your
I-
testimony.
when
One
you-
at a time. One at a time.
When you
one at a
asked me
time.
that, I told you no, right?
Ms. Kelly, don't you think these jurors are entitled to know the nature of your relationship to this defendant since you're testifying in a case where he's charged?
Not really.
The truth about that?
The truth is that I'm not in love with him. That's what you asked me previously, and I told you no. So you're saying that to put emphasis on the relationship that we already had for 5 years.
And it goes back before the 5 years.
It
right?
does,
For maybe 2 years.
probably.
So 7 years you've been in a relationship with him.
7 years, yeah, I've been.
Are you prepared to tell us now what you did with your loan money?
I wasn't, I don't have to tell you that.
You don't want us to know about that?
Will that help you with this little girl case?
Is there some reason you don't want to tell us?
If it's going to help you, I will tell you. So is it going to help you with this case or not?
Are you going to tell us or not?
I don't think it's going to help you. So that'll be a
You
no.
don't want to tell us, do you?
I don't think you need to know. It's
You don't want
irrelevant.
this jury to know, do you?
But you asked and answered.
I have nothing else, Your Honor.
All right, Ross.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
You have continued to visit Granville Ritchie for the past 5 years because he's your friend.
Correct.
And you have continued to talk to him on the phone because he is your friend.
Correct.
And you have given him money so that he can buy commissary at the jail because you are his friend.
Correct.
And you have done that not only because you are his friend, but you also presume him innocent of the allegations.
Objection, Your Honor.
That's correct.
Objection.
Hold on, wait. What's the legal basis?
Relevance.
What is they have gone into the basis for why she has motives to lie, and suggesting that it's improper for her to have a relationship with my client. He's presumed innocent. The court has indicated as such. Everyone's indicated as such.
Sustain the objections in a proper question.
You were asked questions about being under subpoena to testify in court.
Yes.
And you were asked about having discussed with Granville Ritchie the subpoena for you to testify in court on behalf of the state of Florida, right?
Correct.
And at no time did Granville Ritchie suggest to you that you should not show up in court to testify.
No, he didn't say that.
At no time did Granville Ritchie suggest to you that you should show up in court and lie on his behalf.
No.
He did suggest to you that maybe you didn't have to go and meet with the prosecutor because the subpoena indicated that you had to show up to testify truthfully in court.
Correct.
And that was your intent.
That was my intent.
No other questions?
Okay, redirect.
Nothing else, Your Honor.
Okay, may this witness be excused?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Free to go.